buttons and building reports and adding fields, but you're adding value, helping people do their jobs better, more productively. Salespeople sell more, operational people drive more productivity, profitability. How do we do it?
So human-centered design is based around three main areas: desirability, viability, and feasibility. Okay? But what I would say with our team, I try to emphasize what's the human desirability. What do people want? What does the sales team want? What does the VP of operations want for his team to accomplish? Start with that, right? And then you can figure out what's the budget, right? What can they afford? What's the timeline? That's the business viability. And then you can get into the technical feasibility. I think a lot of people tend to start in that blue circle, right? Because look, I'm an IT guy. I've been programming since I was about 19 years old. I like it. It's cool. I like to build stuff. My natural inclination is to start on the blue side, like, hey, look what this technology can do. Here's what you should do it with, right? And that doesn't really work in a business application settings. I got to come to you and say, hey, Brian, what are you trying to accomplish? What do you want? And then I'm going to go back to my toolbox and say, okay, cool. I got these different tools. Here's what we can do. And then let's figure out what we can do on the budget and the timeline that you want. But there's a basic flow to it, and a big thing is observe and empathize. Watch what they're doing. Go to sales meetings. See how they're using their reports. How can you make their lives easier, right? How can you make them more efficient, more productive? From there, then you can understand their needs. Okay. And the problem is if you go straight to trying to define their needs without empathizing and observing, well then you're only getting a superficial glance of what needs to happen. You're not looking at the root cause and going upstream. So empathize and watch what they're doing, right? Then help them structure what their needs are, structure how their lives can be easier, and then prototype and iterate. And when we say prototype and iterate, I don't necessarily mean like Scrum, Agile. I mean like building a wireframe on the whiteboard and saying, hey, is this what the screen, is this what you want the screen to look like? There's actually a great book called Wrench in the System by Harold Hambrose and I'm going to say the name wrong, Dan Boyarsky.
You got it.
Sweet.
Well, it's not a Polish friend.
Yeah, of your brethren. So Wrench in the System. It's a great book. And in that book, it talks about, listen, it's prototyping iteration. It's not necessarily Scrum or Waterfall. It's literally being in a meeting saying, hey, does this screen look good? What do you think? And having people think about, give you feedback immediately in small bites. And then you can go do a week-long sprint and build something and get feedback on it. And that's the test and improve. And in test and improve, you really have to be able to take feedback unemotionally, because again, if Brian's a sales guy and I'm the IT guy, I'm the Salesforce administrator or implementer. If he tells me that something is stupid and doesn't make sense, he's not trying to hurt my feelings. He's just trying to get his job done, right? He could have used nicer words, but again, I'm not going to take it personally. I know that he's just trying to get his job. He wants a good system. Let me just take his feedback, go back to prototype and iterating until I get something that works for him, right? And I think a good example of this is whenever you look at how are people using the Salesforce One Mobile App, right? Which is a very powerful tool that a lot of Salesforce implementers neglect to do. And I think that's something that, you should start with that, simplify the screens for Salesforce One, and then go to your desktop version for it.
Yeah, no, and I think, and the point that you made about prototyping and iteration, I see a whiteboard here in the background, and I think it's an underutilized tool. Whiteboards aren't going to solve any problems by themselves, but it's amazing when you give a couple of different colored markers with someone that knows how to prototype and iterate, how you can do mock-ups. And I think it's an amazing vehicle, and it allows you to really collaborate with your user community. So you can think about taking pockets of salespeople or inside salespeople or executives or operations people and sit around a table, get in front of a whiteboard, and say, how should this work? And really draw it out, and then erase what doesn't work, and then figure it out, and then add some more words and change some colors of things that are more important than others. And it's amazing how much progress you can make with that as a working framework that allows you to really be flexible and iterate in real time, as opposed to, I think a lot of times you see with customers that are struggling with adoption is this asynchronous process. Well, I'm a Salesforce admin, I'm going to change this report, and I'm going to send it to people and hope I get something back. Well, that's, we're all very busy, and I assume your company, everyone has a lot of work to do on their plate, and so having a room that you can really make progress and a whiteboard to make progress in real time, as opposed to people being spoken to, allows everyone to get on the same bus. And I think I like that piece, Craig.
Yeah, and the whiteboard again, super duper powerful. So cool. All right, so to give you some tangible things to walk away with. So on the observe and empathize, I would highly recommend everybody go to the sales meetings, right? If you're a Salesforce admin, go to the sales meetings. If you're working with an operations group, go to their weekly ops meeting. Look at the pain that they're going through. What are the challenges that they have, right? Every company has issues, right? It's really about how you identify the issues and deal with them head on. And I can tell you as an executive, the last thing you want is to have silos of departments trying to solve a problem. That's not a smart way to do it. What you want to have is have a cross-functional team, look at the problem, then try to solve it. So again, if you're working on Service Cloud, if you're working on either anything custom, whether it's Field Service Lightning or CPQ, spend time in your clients, internal clients' business meetings. And again, if it's at sales, it's a sales meeting, operations meeting. That's the best way to understand what the real pains are.